sky's not blue.
You need to understand that when the time comes, I'm going to be taking over.
Welcome back to the Cult House Podcast. I'm your host, the Scholar of Spite and the Saturday Night Delight, Roger Riddell. Joining me today, he is a comic artist whose work includes Spider-Punk, New Mutants, Star Wars Revelations, and the upcoming Spider-Man 2099 Dark Genesis, Justin Mason. How you doing today, Justin?
Pretty good, man. Thanks for having me on here.
Yeah, no, I know we were, before I hit record, we were just talking about how, like, we've been trying to do this for a month now, and we both kept getting sick, and, like, we're both still kind of coughing.
Yeah, it's been bad, man. I don't know what's going around.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking, like, you were telling me about your whole, like, back and forth with your doctor. And, like, I had this thing right before COVID happened, I think starting in, like, fall 2019. I went to a conference for, like, my main job, and I came back from it and got, like, some kind of, like, respiratory infection that wouldn't go away for, like, 4 months. And I went to the doctor like 3 or 4 times, and they just kept saying, yeah, it's a viral infection, you just have to wait it out, you gotta wait it out. I'm like, yo, I'm coughing up stuff that's, like, bright yellow and green. I think
Yeah.
it's bacterial. Give me antibiotics.
Right, exactly. Yeah. I don't know, man. Like that's what my doctor did though. They're just like, it's nothing, you know. I'm like, okay, all right.
And then I finally got someone to give me antibiotics, and it went away in like a week or 2.
Exactly. Yeah, crap.
Yeah, it's been a while since I've seen you. Like, I think probably at least like 4 years, right?
Oh yeah, man. I mean, let's see. I think it was at New York.
Yeah, because I was like, before we did this earlier, I was trying to look through my stuff because I've got like a Venom sketch that you did for me in like 2016, before you'd even like broken in.
Oh yeah, I think that might have been it, man. That might have been the last time. Let me turn this light off real quick, 'cause I feel like it might be watching. All right, but yeah, man, I think that might be the last time. I want to say, was that 2016? Was
Yeah,
it
I think
the
so.
last year? So it was like right at 2017.
Yeah,
I mean, because
we were...
well, I mean, like you said, that was right before I broke in, and that was the year that con was when I got my first interview with Marvel. So I've been seriously trying since then to break into them, you know. So it's been a while.
Yeah, who did you have to interview with there? Was it CB?
No, never interviewed with him. It was Ricky Purden. I actually never had met CB until this past New York Comic Con. You know, they they invited me to like a little shindig. I guess, like, sorry, that's my daughter. You can hear that. But they invited me to like shindig before like the Marvel party, and CB was there just hanging out with a bunch of people, and I'm like, man, you know, like to see him and see a bunch of these people, it was crazy.
Yeah, it's like that whole kind of like sinking in that, oh, I made it. Like,
Yeah,
I'm doing the thing I wanted to do.
yeah, it did sink in. But even now, it was like after Spider-Punk, you know, I thought this whole time I would be like, oh, I made it, I'm in. But it's like Jay always said, he's like, you know, you're in, but then you have to stay in. So it's like you have to literally just keep fighting and scratching at the door to stay in there. So that's what I feel like now. It's like I'm just trying. I'm asking them, hey guys, you know, got anything else? You know, I'm right here. Just throw something else at me. So
Yeah,
I've been lucky enough that they throw me great stuff, but you know, it ain't been. I don't have no ongoings yet, and that's just what I'm waiting for.
yeah, because I mean, like, every kind of creative profession where you're like doing art or like writing or anything like that, you're only ever I guess, as valuable as like your last project was. So you always have to just be
Yeah.
hustling, you know?
Yeah, yeah. And I think I got lucky because Spider-Punk being, the character he is, like I didn't realize at the time, but I guess he's just got such a great following that I just kind of rode that wave. Yeah. I was like, yeah, I'm nobody, but thankfully my name was attached, and luckily it was a great project, to work on. So I think I just kind of, yeah, and that's led me into 2099, luckily.
Yeah. Well, let's back up a little bit because like I know when I first met you, we were all it was me, you, Jay, um, Trisha, and Sean. We were all just like
Yeah.
crammed in this hotel in New York, and like you were trying to break in. I was up there. It was my first New York Comic Con that I'd gone to, and like, um, I was covering it for my friend's website, Monkeys Fighting Robots. So like, how initially did you end up meeting Jay and like kind of being taken under his wing and kind of getting that guidance to break into the industry?
Well, with Jay, he goes back even farther. I think maybe I want to say 20, about 2013. He was at a Lexington Comic Con, and I didn't know who he was at the time, but it was right before the con was going to happen, and I talked to a buddy, and I was like, man, I want to go. I really want to do comics, this and that, and he just got on the website and he started just going through the list of creators, and he's like, dude, this dude's from Lexington, it says, and I'm like, really? But Louisville, and and I think I just was like, I'm just gonna find him on Facebook and just write him, just because I'm like, I'm not far away. He should kind of get who I am, and that's what I did. I just cold messaged him, and explained my situation, and luckily he understood, and we met up, and that's really what led to me and him. But yeah, I mean, it was just a lot of years of me not really doing anything. Like after that, it was maybe 3, 4 years. He would just be like, yeah, man, just keep drawing samples and send them in. And I wasn't, I was like, yeah, I didn't have no drive to do it. I would try, and nothing would. I don't know. It's like it really separates. It's like you got all these people. It's like I want to draw comics, but then you got people. It's like they draw comics. So it's like the only way you're gonna draw comics is if you draw comics. So finally, though, it got to the point where it's like, okay, I'm done working these like crap jobs and these factories, and I'm like, I'm just gonna try it. And then luckily it was there, and then it was like at Lexington Comic Con, I had stuff to show him, and he was like, "Do you just want to come to C2E2?" And I went to that one. I don't know if you weren't. I don't know if I met you there. I think it was New York when I met you, but
Yeah,
it was
yeah.
just it was that following October was in New York, so it was the second time we'd hung out.
Yeah, no, like I think I met Jay like a year before you did because I had profiled him for Louisville Magazine. And
Oh
like
yeah.
he's just like such a nice dude that we ended up being friends. So he's like the chillest dude ever.
Oh yeah, he is. I mean, seriously, that's why I'm really lucky too to met him. I mean, I feel like anybody else, they wouldn't have given me the time of day kind of thing. I mean, he uh he told me, I think I went up to can't remember what con I went with him with, but Jim Chung. Is that how you pronounce his last name? Chung? But
I think so.
he I think so. But anyways, they were talking at like dinner, but Ryan Stegman went with them, and he was like, "Do you want to go?" He's talking to me. I was like, "Yeah, yeah, it sounds cool." And then Jay was like, "It's like $100 just to sit at the table." So at the time, I was like, I had no money. I was like, "Oh shoot, forget that. I guess I'm getting McDonald's, man. Just let me know how it was." And he come back, and I guess they were talking about me, and I guess Jim Chung was like, "Why are you helping him out?" And he's like, just trying to give back." And he's like, "But he's your competition." And Jay was like, "He's not mine. He's yours." Because he's not an anchor. He's not. Yeah, he's like, he's not an anchor. He's a He's a penciler trying to be a penciler. He's like, you're a competition. So yeah, I thought that was funny. But yeah, man,
Yeah.
Jay, yeah, he's like the best dude out there, man. He doesn't get no better than him, you know.
Yeah, and like I guess around the time that we both met him, he was transitioning from doing like Uncanny X-Men over to Iron Man, if I remember.
Yeah, I think actually when I first around the first time I met him, yeah, he had a lot of Iron Man pages. From was it Greg Land he was inking at the time?
Yeah.
Yeah, I
Yeah, and they
remember
were doing
him
like the
writing a lot of
space
them.
armor.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that because I was like, man, that's I was still new, so I was like, man, this is crazy how it is. Like how you're doing this. It was it was a crazy time.
Yeah. Like just like I've the whole time that I've known him, I've never been trying to like break in as an artist because that kind of goes back to what you've said, a minute ago about like there's people who draw comics and people who aren't drawing comics. And it's like
Right.
I know enough about myself, like even though I can draw, I know enough about myself from like a patience level standpoint that I don't have the patience to do like sequential art.
Right, right. Yeah,
And
yeah.
it kind of just like separates that whole thing.
Oh
But
man, yeah.
yeah. But like I've learned so
There's a
much about like that whole process just from him sharing pages that
right.
he's working on with me whenever I've like grabbed lunch with him when I'm in Kentucky.
Yeah. It's always fun to be, I guess, on that side just to see, when you're not doing it, like when I wasn't, and he would just show me. I felt like I was a part of it. I think that's what helped me too, is because he's like, hey, you can look at these, and I'm like, that's so awesome to see. But yeah, man, you gotta have a lot of patience. Like it's crazy. I don't realize it, but because I've done it for so long now, but there's so many people around me. It's like, how do you? They're like, I couldn't sit down for 5 minutes, and trust me, I hate sitting for long periods of time. Like I work for an hour, and then I'm like, I gotta get up and do something. Like it's too pretty outside to just waste inside.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean like I've written like a short comic before, but like I don't think I'd ever have the patience to actually draw it.
Yeah, well, and I don't know. I've always wondered, because I don't write, but I've never really I don't know writers or how their schedules are and how much time a script takes. Because in my mind, okay, a book takes a month essentially because you get a page a day kind of thing if you want to take some breaks. But I've always wondered about scripts. Like and I know you can write multiples in a month. But I would say it just depends on the writer, like how fast you are and all that.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean I think that's probably the same across like both writers and artists, like how much you can do, like take on,
Yeah,
and like the amount of time that it takes just like varies so much from person to person, and
right.
like workflow and habits and all that.
Yeah.
After you got that first interview with Ricky at Marvel in New York, like what was your path like from there to finally getting actual like comic work? Because I know
Well,
you did some Ninja Turtles covers and stuff too, and I think you've done like Vampirella, right?
yeah, yeah. Well, I mean, that's the thing. It's like, I got the interview with him, and I want to say I talked to him twice. Or maybe I don't know, but it was still years. It took just to get work with him. But in between them, it was like I was trying other places. I did like a Ninja Turtle sketch on and posted on Twitter, and that's how IDW got up with me and let me do a cover for them, which was awesome. And I luckily, if I'm mistaken, it was at New York. I met a writer, Tom Snigowski, and Jay knew him pretty well, but he actually was one that got me on the Vengeance of Vampirella, and it was just a little, I think, 5-page feel thing, fill in. So it wasn't much, but it was something. I was looking for anything, anywhere, and I hate even thinking back to that because they said that my work looked just like way too much anime, and I was or manga, and I'm like, man, that's not at all what I was going for,
I think that the whole like path of just like getting from one thing to the next is always interesting because it's like I've talked to Todd McFarlane a few times for my friend Matt's website, Monkeys Fighting Robots, and like
Yeah.
Todd had like I think it was dozens, if not, 100 rejections from Marvel before they finally,
Yeah.
and I think from like DC too, because he was at DC doing like Batman and stuff like that before he jumped over to Marvel.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it's weird you brought him up because just as a side note, I had a dream about him the other night that he finally brought me on to do a Spawn cover, and I was like, oh my god, thank God.
Have you
But
gotten to
man,
meet him yet?
no, I've never met him. You know, I've wanted to. I've come close. He was at New York when I was up there this past year, and I seen that he was in Artist Alley and everything. I'm like, oh my god, I was like 2 rows away from this dude, you know. But no, I've not got to meet him. But it seems like here lately, I don't know if you've noticed, but a lot of people can just post their art of Spawn, and he's been bringing them on doing covers, you
Yeah.
know. And I'm like, man, I'm not saying that their level ain't top tier cover work, but I mean, he's bringing a lot of people on. And I'm like, man, I need to do that, get some art out there. Yeah, I want to meet him so bad, man. Just do a Spawn cover or something.
Yeah, no, he's another guy who like I didn't expect him to be as nice as he is because of like how
Really?
well known as he is. Like he's still super down to earth. And I didn't
Yeah.
expect that when I met him, but like one of the times that I interviewed him, I had like I was just waiting for him to show up to the interview, and I was just doing like a little Spawn sketch in the corner of the page. And he looks
Oh,
at it when he sits
dang.
down. He's like, "Oh, I just found my new Spawn artist." And I'm like, "I don't know about that,
Oh,
dude."
dang. Crap. That's awesome though. That's pretty cool.
Yeah,
Man. Um, yeah, man, from what I've heard, he seems like he's definitely just a nice dude. I don't know. Somebody told me though that he's kind of out there at times. Like, but you can kind of tell, man. You got to think. I guess his mind's just he's doing so many different things. You know, I mean, and he's a smart dude. Like he knows how to play. He knows what he's doing. So, but yeah, I hope I meet him one day.
yeah.
Do
No, I
something
think that
for him.
your mind has to kind of be out there to be
Right. Yeah.
successful at that level.
Oh yeah. Sure. I mean, to branch off in the places that he like to do toys and then still do comics and write. And I mean, Lord, I don't know how he does it.
Yeah. I mean, I'm sure that like he probably looked at people who had that level of success when he was like where you're at now and was like, I don't know how that guy does it, you know?
I don't know. I've never thought of it that way, but maybe. It seems like, man, he knew what he was wanting to do, you know, and he knew when to play the cards, you know. So I don't know.
Yeah.
I actually just recently got his artist edition of Spider-Man. You got the big book of it.
Oh no.
Oh man, it's beautiful. Oh my god, just it's like enlarged. Oh,
Is
just
it
his original
the
inks.
316?
Let's see this one. This one right here.
Like I have his whole amazing run. Oh yeah, the 316, yeah.
Is this the 360? Okay, I wasn't sure, but yeah, man, just God Almighty,
Yeah,
it's
because I've
so
got like the
good.
original like issue of that signed by him, and then I've got 300 signed by him, the first Venom.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, man, I would just love to have a copy of it myself.
Yeah.
Yeah, but yeah, that book though, it's just got it, you know, it's huge and it's got all the original inks and man, it's beautiful work. So good, so good.
Yeah. Yeah, so you got the Vampirella miniseries like after the handful of Ninja Turtles covers you did, right?
Yeah,
So like
yeah,
what
yeah.
was it like going from like you went from that and then how did you get on Marvel's radar again after that?
Well, you know, like I would do sketches and commissions throughout this time, and I would send them to Ricky, and because like some of them pages, like especially for the Vampirella, I wasn't crazy about, and I knew I was like, this ain't gonna do nothing. but at least I've seen him something. And so I just stayed on it there. Like honestly, man, it was like maybe twice a year I'd write him just to kind of touch base. And he probably didn't even remember who it was, but it's just like, hey, man, here I am. Here's some more stuff. Uh, but it wasn't long after that is when I'm trying to remember how that come about. But DC wrote me. Actually, that is Tom, the dude from the Vampirella, was doing a little thing with DC, and he threw my name out there, and then they got in touch with me, and so I did that. It was a little Christmas special, which was cool. And I think I might have sent that to Ricky. So I'm just trying to stay on his radar as much as I can, but it's not as often as I should or an artist should, because it literally should be samples nonstop. But it's like, realistically, if you're not getting paid, it's really hard to do it. So, but I sent him them, and then trying to remember the time. Oh, it was not long after that. I started the Rogues Gallery at Image with Declan Shalvey, and it was like as soon as we got started, Marvel hit me up, and they offered me like a 2 or 3 issue uh, run on. Oh my God, it's on to my tongue. The Marauders.
Yeah.
I believe it's them. They and it was a one shot of the Irish X-Men Banshee.
Yeah.
Yeah. So it was like a 2 or 3 issue thing of him with Jordan White and the editor. And he's like, yeah, they were being so nice and just trying to work around my schedule with Rogues. And it come down to like, I just couldn't do it. It was either do them and leave Rogues, or, you know, but, so, Declan was like, well, if you go over to Marvel, it's like, you could do them 2 or 3 issues and they're never going to call you again for another at least 5 months, a year, who knows. And so it's just like that chance. And then I had a nice little run with Image, and I just didn't want to lose that. And it sucked, but I actually had to turn them down. My first Marvel work, but but yeah, I mean, and it was cool to say, I guess, yeah, I turned Marvel down,
Yeah.
but but uh, but yeah, I think it was actually I finished up Rogues. It was like a year of doing that, because we had to take some time to do other stuff, I think. But it's like a year later, I sent Ricky the first issue of Rogues and the 4th issue, and I swear it was like maybe 2 days later. He's like, "Oh, we've got you something," uh, and he was like, "You have to agree to it before I can tell you what it is." And I was like, "Oh my God, I don't." It's working for Marvel. It's great, but it's like it could be something that just utterly is crap. You know, I'm like, I don't know. Like, what if I'm not good at whatever this is they're going to offer me? So I thought about it, and then I was like, this is my only shot, so I got to take it. And then he come back, and it was like, all right, we're going to offer you Spider Punk for 5 issues. So that's how that come about.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like working on that book with Cody Ziegler as well? Because I know at the time they were doing the I remember what the Amazing Spider-Man arc was. It was like Beyond.
Yeah,
Yeah, yeah. I was trying to remember if
yeah.
they called it Beyond or if I was misremembering that, because last year at the same time as that, they also had the 60th anniversary thing and they were calling that Beyond Amazing.
Oh, really?
So I
See, I
get
didn't know that.
I get the 60th anniversary initiative and like that story
Yeah,
arc itself mixed up now because they were both at the same time.
right. That is weird. That is weird. But yeah, I mean, working with Cody, man, oh my God, it was awesome. Like I said earlier, like, dude, on Spider Punk, I guess it's not normal because we all meshed so well, and we all just had such a great time on that book. Like, we literally just, like, I look at them dudes like my brothers now. It's such a great time, such a great experience. And so many artists was like, dude, don't get used to that because that's not how it is. Yeah. And but I mean, yeah, man, Cody's a coolest dude out there, easiest dude to get along with. I mean, I love his writing. I love his stories. I think he's the next thing, man. I think he's, well, I mean, now he's writing Miles. I mean, dude, he's gonna be the next big thing, next big writer.
Yeah, yeah. I mean that episode of She-Hulk that Cody did was probably my favorite in the whole season too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Yeah, man. And I had to just brag to my friends about that, and then the last episode, he's in the episode. Like that was so cool, dude. Just
Yeah.
like, dude, you have an appearance in the MCU. Like that's pretty cool. But
Yeah,
yeah,
just
like his stuff.
him writing a scene of Daredevil doing the walk of shame.
That was good. Yeah, I mean, what's kind of cool is he essentially wrote, I guess, Daredevil's first appearance in the MCU too, though. Like Daredevil is not Matt Murdock's, but I was like, man, that's pretty cool. Like you get to hold that up there. But yeah, man, his whole episode, it was great, man. I'm telling you, yeah, man, he's definitely going. He's going. I'm not saying he ain't places, but he's going even higher than what he is.
Yeah. I've been reading his Miles run now because I jumped onto Miles when Saladin started writing it on the last run. And I like what Cody did on Amazing, and some of the other stuff that I've read from him, and then that She-Hulk episode. And I think
Yeah,
he's also like written for Rick and Morty before too. So I was
yeah,
just like, all right, this is gonna be like a good Miles run. So I'm just gonna stay on board.
yeah, yeah. I think he just got done with Futurama too, though the reboot. But yeah, I haven't even. I'm glad you reminded me because I need to. I got the first issue, but I haven't even read it. I'm just horrible at keeping up with things now. But
Yeah.
I've got the second and third issue. Like they should be coming any day, sent to me. But yeah, I'm gonna try to keep up with it, keep up with that run, just to support too. I mean, but I mean, I've heard it's great so far from whatever the reviews and everything.
Yeah. Yeah. What was it like on Spider-Punk also just getting to kind of define what alternate universe versions of a lot of well-known characters looked like?
That was fun. I mean, it, it was a little bit of a challenge because in my mind, like with Kraven or Ironheart, it's like I was leaning more towards who they are in the 616, and it's like that's what like Kraven, I'm thinking of just the fur, some kind of stuff, and that's actually what I did at first, but just add some spikes on, kind of thing. And Danny, my editor, was like, let's just push it as far as we can a little bit, just without losing them, but let's just push it away. Let's just forget about that. So, luckily, I nailed it down on them. But that was just a fun thing, man. Just to be able to say that I created some characters in 138. That was pretty awesome. Uh, the I'm trying to think. I think our favorite, yeah, all of ours was Matea, Daredevil. Like I don't know, something about that, her drumming and just making the sound like that was pretty cool. That was awesome.
Yeah. Yeah. Now that Spider-Punk's gonna be in the next Spider-Verse movie, uh, do you feel like how they do like those the flashback vignettes like explaining each of the characters in the first one?
Yeah, yeah.
It's like, how are you gonna feel if they do one of those for Spider-Punk and like one of the characters from that universe that you helped design has like a cameo in that?
I don't know if they will, but I mean, if somebody if somebody did, that would just be the coolest thing. Like that would be like how we were talking about earlier. I think then I'd be like, okay, I kind of made it now. That feeling. But but yeah, I mean that would be really cool. I am curious on what they're going to do with his though. Like how much are they going to change a lot? What's the what would because I've wondered, are they gonna you know because they pushed the movie back obviously, and is it like, well, are they gonna look at what we done and maybe kind of change something? I don't know, but It would be interesting, and if they did, it'd be my jaw would be on the floor in the theater, and I'll probably scream or something. And like, shut up!
Yeah, I mean, there's supposed to be some kind of crazy amount of different animation styles in that movie.
Oh yeah, yeah. I've I talked to an artist that he said he was a consultant on the film, and he's seen this was even before they even had any leaks or even announced that he was going to be on it, but he's seen some of the animations of his, and he said it was like I didn't really understand what he meant, but he said it was like old Xerox style something. I don't know. He just said the way the punk they got that, he said it was perfect. So I'm just gonna trust him. I'm like, okay, man, you say so. But I'm sure
Yeah.
they nailed it. I'm sure that it's gonna be crazy awesome.
Yeah, I think I kind of understand what he's talking about, where it's like the old like things are clipped out and then like put on a copy machine and then all together like that's the final art.
I guess yeah, that would make sense then. Seeing that because that's really like imagine I guess like on our first issue of Spider Punk, the way it cover was it looked like it had clipped art, uh, stuff just mashed up on a wall. So yeah, it's something like that. I can't wait, man. I can't wait to see it.
Yeah.
I know it's gonna be great.
Yeah, it's like the old like punk show like flyer collages and
Yeah, yeah,
lantern note
exactly. Yeah,
lettering and stuff. Yeah.
exactly. That's yeah, yeah. On the whole ransom note thing is whenever I did the designs on the characters, like I even went up and beyond on it a little bit because most of the time when you do designs, I'm just going to write down, okay, this is this character's name, and then just sketch them above it, kind of thing. But no, like I even went on Google and found the a file of like all the letters and would literally copy and paste each letter and write their name out, dude. Yeah, it was fun. It was really cool. It was really cool. And I think it might be in the trade of Spider Punk. I'm hoping it will be. If so, it'd be pretty cool. Just see how I clipped it out.
Yeah, that's always been one of my favorite things in trades and like omnibuses and stuff is you flip to the back and you've got like all
Yeah.
of those bonus materials and sometimes you get to see the those design sheets. And
Oh
my
yeah.
favorite one of all time, and I've said this on like a few other episodes with I think with like Jay and with like Tim Seeley, is that there's an Uncanny X-Men omnibus from right around the time that Nightcrawler debuted. And there's a note on the Nightcrawler like design sheet that says to make sure that you don't draw the tail coming out from between his legs, or John Romita Sr. will have an ulcer. He
What
still got the comics
the?
code back then too.
Wow.
So it
That's pretty
always has to be
hilarious.
drawn coming from the side. You can't show it like coming down
Coming
behind him from
down.
his crotch. Yeah.
That's pretty cool. I never knew that, or I never had heard that. That's interesting.
Yeah.
Oh crap.
So while we're on the topic of Spider-Man movies, who do you think is the worst film Spider-Man and why is it Tobey Maguire?
Oh God, I knew you was gonna. I knew you were, dude. It's funny you say it though. I oh God, without dropping everything on here. I actually just ordered the film poster.
Yeah.
Just, but and also a little cool thing. May 3rd when it dropped, and May 3rd is actually when 2099 comes out,
Oh,
first
nice.
issue. Yeah, so I'm like, hey man, there's something about that.
Yeah. No, I actually so like I don't, as much as I've like trolled you in the past acting like I don't like the Tobey Maguire movies, there are things about all the Spider-Man movies that I like. And I think like, well, I mean we could sit here for hours just like going back and forth
Yeah,
about that probably. But I think a lot of the stuff that I don't like about those movies has more to do with just the way that superhero movies were approached at the time more than it does the movie itself.
yeah,
Because like I think at that time people overthought things like some of the costuming and stuff. So like the Green Goblin costume in the first one I always
Yeah.
thought that one was a little bit overdone, where he just kind of looked Power Rangery.
Oh
But
yeah.
you get to the
Yeah.
third one, the Harry Osborn Goblin, where he just looks like a sky surfing paintball ninja. Like that,
Right.
it was just always
Yeah.
kind of goofy.
Yeah. Yeah. Like definitely had like paintball goggles and crap. But yeah, like that is, and I've seen, and I'm, it's all over the internet, like the supposed like the animatronic face they were gonna do with the Green Goblin.
Yeah,
Like you seen that? That looked
you could
cool.
you could unlock that costume on the movie video game on like PS2. So they had where after you, I forget what it was that you had to do to unlock this, but you could unlock the a version of the concept art for the Spider-Man suit for that movie, because originally they were going to do like a black and red one that kind of looked a lot like the Superior Spider-Man costume. Uh,
Yeah, yeah,
and then the original concept art for the Goblin in that movie had a much less mechanical looking face, and there was kind of like a cloak over it, but it still kind of had the body armor. And I
yeah.
kind of like, this kind of feels like it would have been a little bit cooler, but I think people were
Right.
afraid to be too comic booky in a comic book movie at the time, and sometimes it came off a little bit goofier as a result.
I get. Yeah. Well, I mean, and I guess it almost could. You think about X-Men too back then. Like they didn't give them their costumes; they just all gave them jumpsuits, black jumpsuit, and like that's fine and all, but that's all I've wanted to see in an X-Men movie. For instance, it's like I want to see the. It's a comic book movie. I want to see how you portray their, their
Yeah.
cartoon comic outfits.
And then for a
I don't
while
know. I
after
mean,
that in the comics, they had like the black leather costumes to try to kind
really,
of match things up. Yeah, there's
uh,
the
didn't they have a
Grant
tie-in?
Morrison new X-Men. It's kind of like a
Oh,
mashup of a traditional X-Men costume and like the black leather jumpsuit things.
yeah, yeah, yeah. I mean, I don't know um, I don't know if I've heard, but like with Wolverine's, little deal, it's like I've heard supposedly it's like they didn't like that. It would just look weird on his face kind of thing. But I heard rumors that Hugh Jackman is supposed to actually wear it in the Deadpool 3 movie. I don't know if
Yeah.
it's true. It'd be interesting to see how they do the Wolverine stuff, if it is.
Yeah, because I think I've kind of seen like a mock-up of it. I mean, they went all in with the with the yellow floaty chair for Professor X and Doctor Strange. So
Oh yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Hey, that was pretty cool to see that, and it was funny though. They actually played the little the intro music when he showed
Yeah.
up.
Yeah, there's like that little flourish of the X-Men theme.
Yeah. I was like, oh my god, they really are pushing it right here.
So the thing that always bothered me about like those first few X-Men movies was that in the second movie, when Nightcrawler and Mystique meet, there's like this weird shot of them staring like longingly into each other's eyes. I'm kind of like, that's like a mother and her son. I don't know if y'all got that memo or not, but this is weird.
Honestly, man, it's been so long since I've seen that movie. I can't even remember that, but I kind of want to go back and watch it now just to see. Yeah, I'm serious. Like I haven't seen that in years, probably.
Yeah.
I can't.
No,
I can't even watch like the third part or what's the other one? I don't know. There's a couple of them I just don't like. Oh, like Apocalypse or oh my
yeah.
God, Dark. I watched Dark Phoenix just to say I seen it, but I feel like they went downhill after so long. Those
When I
movies.
saw Dark Phoenix in the theater, there were some little kids in the row behind me. And right after the movie ended, this little girl just like, why did they copy Captain Marvel?
Oh my God, that's hilarious. Crap. So, yeah, I mean I don't know about them movies. I mean, I'm curious how they're gonna work with them in the MCU.
Yeah. I mean, they've
The
kind of
whole
already started like planting the seeds though, with like the
yeah,
Morb still being a mutant, and then
yeah, and then
they're
Miss Marvel, is that he said you
yeah.
got like a mutation or something?
Yeah, there's like another thing too where I think it was in She-Hulk. There's like a thing in the background in one of those episodes. Like you have to look really close to
Oh,
see it. It's
yeah.
about like a dude with claws like slicing someone in Madripoor
Yeah.
or something like that. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
And then Madripoor's in the Falcon and Winter Soldier.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, they go to Madripoor.
It's been so long since I've seen. I forgot about that. Falcon Winter Soldier. Crap. Been a while back, but yeah, yeah. I mean, it is cool. You know, they're definitely sprinkling them in. So I'm excited to see what they do with them for sure.
Yeah.
Who would your Wolverine be if it wasn't Hugh Jackman? You ever had an idea of who would be the perfect to portray him?
I think that particularly who they get doesn't matter as long as it's someone who's actually like 5'5" and has a Canadian accent. I
Yeah.
just want a Wolverine that ends like half of his sentences with a and says a boot
Right.
instead of about.
Yeah.
I want like I want short king Canadian Wolverine. That's all I want.
Yeah. Yeah. I mean, yeah, I've there was I don't remember his name. Aaron Egerton, I believe is the actor's name. I heard
Yeah.
some people say that there was rumors him portraying him. And I think he's a shorter dude. Real not, good little stocky dude, but I've always thought he'd be good. And then I don't know if you heard of the Harry Potter dude, rumors of him playing him.
Yeah.
And I'm like, man, I don't know about that. He might be a good actor, but I don't know about that. I just couldn't see him, because when I see him, I'm like, oh, I see Harry Potter.
Yeah. I don't know. He did an action movie a few years ago, and I can't remember what it was called now. But
Are you talking? Is it the two gun thing?
yeah.
I ain't seen it. I actually been wanting to see that. My buddy said he really liked it. Was it good?
Um, I've only seen clips of it. I haven't seen it like all the way yet, but I feel like he's tried to do some stuff like that here and there to distance
Right.
himself from like the Harry Potter
Yeah,
image.
and I get it, but it's like, man, I feel like the image is too strong.
Yeah.
Like it's just there.
Well, I was
But
uh I
yeah,
was actually having a similar conversation with someone the other day about the best like wrestlers turned actors. And it's like as much as I like The Rock, I
yeah,
can never watch a movie that he's in without seeing him as The Rock. But Dave
right,
Bautista, he's like in all these different kinds of movies, and he's like gone out of his way to do so many like different kinds of roles
yeah,
that I don't think about him as Dave Bautista in movies, but I think of The Rock as The Rock in every role. Like it's always that character as The Rock.
right. Yeah, I get that. And I think I just watched the Glass Onion just a while back.
Yeah.
And it's like when I see him in movies, yeah, I don't think of like Batista as a wrestler. Like, I think he's just kind of gotten. I don't know if it was maybe because I didn't watch wrestling as much, but The Rock was just such a big image.
Yeah.
Maybe it's like that, but yeah, it's like when I see Batista, I'm like, I feel like he's definitely growing, and I'd like to see that new movie with him, the Knock at the Cabin or Knock at the Woods or something.
Yeah.
But yeah, it seems like he's branched out, and I don't know. I don't get that from him. But like you're saying, I do get that with The Rock. It's like every movie, it's like that's The Rock.
Yeah. Well,
It
it's
ain't
like
Dwayne
the Rock
Johnson.
also looks the same and like acts the same in every movie.
Yeah, like there's not really much range there.
Yeah. Like
Yeah.
in Black Adam, for example, like if he had them do like the Black Adam hair on his head,
Oh yeah, yeah,
yeah, like I might have like
yeah,
been able to distance myself from thinking about it being The Rock, but like
yeah.
yeah, I just feel like he's and like I like The Rock, but like I still just always think of him as The Rock in everything that I see him in.
I guess it's one of the things, man. I don't know if he'll ever be able to push past that. I mean, I think I don't know. I don't know if I made this up or what, or making this up, but I read something that he's supposed to be. Or is it? Did I make? He's supposed to be coming back in a reboot of The Mummy or something. And I'm like,
Yeah, I
man,
don't know.
so I don't know, but I was like, man, is he gonna be playing the King dude that he
Oh, yeah,
played
the
in the last
Scorpion
one.
King.
Yeah, the King, Scorpion King. Oh.
Yeah, because they gave him hair in that movie.
Hmm.
He had
Yeah, he
that
had the
big
long
long
hair.
ponytail. Yeah.
Yeah, 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 yeah.
But that
Bad
was back when he still
CGI.
kind of had hair in real life too.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. But they should have definitely gave him hair for the Black Adam movie. Like, I mean,
Yeah.
come on, spray it on or something, or CGI. I mean, they could do it.
Yeah. I mean, they could have like glued a Hollywood wig on there.
Yeah, yeah. In Black Adam, I don't know. I'm not really familiar with him, but he does have pointy ears, right?
Um, I can't
I'm
remember.
not. I'm not.
Yeah.
I'm not really familiar with him, so I don't know. But I could have sworn in the comics he had pointy ears, but I don't know if he had pointy ears in the movie. I
Yeah.
don't
I mean,
know.
I think Black Adam in comics also looks similar to Namor in comics.
Oh yeah, yeah,
So
yeah, yeah. I
I
can
know
see that.
Namor
Yeah,
has pointy ears,
yeah,
but they
yeah.
both kind of have like that chiseled face and the slick black
Mhm.
hair.
Yeah, yeah. I never even thought about that, but yeah, their faces definitely could be the same. You know,
Yeah.
I haven't seen Black Panther Wakanda whatever it's
Wakanda
called.
Forever, yeah.
Wakanda Forever. Yeah, I haven't seen it. I just actually started the other night, but got like 10 minutes in. I'm like, dude, this is a 3 hour movie. I ain't got the time. I was too tired. So
Yeah. Oh, they did Namor perfect in that movie.
did they? Did they?
Yeah.
Okay, well that's good.
Like
Yeah,
he's pretty comic accurate and like they nailed the personality and they tweaked some of his backstory a little bit so that it would make sense, but the way that they did it I liked a lot.
okay. Well, yeah, I was pretty excited to see how they do how they portrayed him. And my wife, she's not really big into the movies other than Spider-Man movies, but she she's pretty pumped for the Ant-Man movie
Yeah.
in February, like or it is February, but yeah, she's like, "We're gonna watch that." I'm like, I mean, if we can, yeah, I'm gonna try to. If I got time, but it looks pretty good.
Yeah. That's kind of the with them introducing like X-Men and Fantastic Four uh
Yeah,
into the MCU. Like I keep thinking that the way that it would make the most sense would be if there's like some kind of explanation that Kang or one of his other like identities, because there's like Kang and then Immortus, which I
yeah,
think essentially He Who Remains was kind of supposed to be Immortus. And then like I don't know if they're gonna get into the weirdness of him also having Ramatut, the version of him that went back to ancient Egypt and became a pharaoh.
Oh wow! See, I didn't know
Yeah.
that.
Because
Crap.
Ramatut, I think, debuts in the Fantastic Four comics before Kang ever does. But they're the same dude, but they're from different
Oh,
timelines. And then Ramatut's timeline, Nathaniel Richards goes back to Egypt and makes himself a pharaoh.
oh wow. Okay. Huh. Yeah, that'd
But
be pretty cool.
yeah, like I think that the way that the way that would make the most sense in my mind for them to introduce the Fantastic Four and the X-Men at this point is to just be like one of these versions of Kang basically like manipulated the time stream so that in this one timeline that he was trying to make like the singular timeline or whatever,
Yeah,
um based on what happened in the Loki series, is that he arranged it so that the Fantastic Four and the X-Men either didn't exist in that timeline or were like banished to some like weird place like the quantum realm or the negative zone or
yeah,
something, because they had like the Fantastic Four had time travel figured out. So they were a threat to him doing that. And then there are mutants who have like time
time
manipulation
travel.
abilities.
Right,
And so
right,
like
right, right.
either preventing them from showing up in the timeline or exiling them to a different like microverse or universe or whatever would essentially like make sense. And so then once they get around to like Secret Wars happening, they can do that whole
Yeah,
thing from like Secret Wars 2015 in the comics where it's just like, oh yeah, now that this whole thing's resolved, like a handful of these universes are just getting smushed together. And everything that happened before happened, but it happened in different ways. And oh, this
right.
character's still alive, but they look different now because we recast them. But you're going to pretend that we didn't recast them
Yeah.
and that they were just here all along and didn't die. And that's
I,
just
I
like
don't
a soft
know.
reboot.
I mean, but honestly, that that seems like the best way they should go about it. I mean,
Yeah.
I never even thought about that though. Like because that would make sense if they did something with Fantastic Four, them having time. That definitely that would be something I'd be like, okay, I can go with that.
Yeah, like I feel like the Doctor Strange 2 was kind of like a soft test for that too, as far as like how much they could get audiences to buy a soft reboot
Yeah.
where the same event happened, but it happened in a different way because there were other characters who were still there. It's like
Right.
the Infinity War, but like Fantastic Four and Professor X and Black Bolt were like clearly there.
Right. 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 Yeah. Yeah. I mean, it seemed like they definitely had it. They I don't know. Seems like they got it all lined out. They know what they're doing. But I'm excited though to see, and I hope they do touch base with something in the Ant-Man because I've heard rumors of the Fantastic Four movie supposed to be taking place in the '60s.
Mm-hmm.
So it almost sounds like that would make sense too because it's like, well, this was before everything, and if they did have, if that was something they did where it's like they have time travel and he's like got rid of them, that was before anything, this MCU era kind of thing. So I don't know, it'd be fun if they did like that.
So I don't know how much you can talk about Spider-Man 2099. Um, but how did you end up getting onto that project after Spider-Punk? Because I know that like
Uh,
at some point between there you also did a New Mutants issue.
yeah, I did a little. It was just like too. It was like an anthology kind of thing. A bunch of artists in that New Mutants thing. They after Spider Punk, it was just like I said, it's like you still have to kind of scratch at the door. You still got like, hey, I'm right here. Throw me a bone, throw me something. But luckily, Ricky was looking pretty active, and it wasn't long after it finished. He's like, well, we got this. It ain't much, but it's something. I'm like, I'll take anything. And then it wasn't long after that. Uh, they they're like, do you want to? Well, actually, I was talking to Declan Shalvey, and he was like, "There's rumors of they're gonna be doing some Star Wars stuff, and your name's been thrown in the mix." He's like, "Don't say nothing though." I'm like, "Okay, I ain't gonna say nothing." Yeah. And he's like, "But it's probably gonna be months away." He's like, "Don't expect it anytime soon." I was like, "Well, all right." So at least I have a time frame. And I swear it was like a couple days later, my editor was like, "Hey man, you want to do something with Star Wars?" And I was like, "All right, yeah, yeah, let's do it." So it was pretty quick with it. And then as soon as I finished Star Wars, that's just how it is, man. They just kind of randomly pop in and like, hey, do you want to do this? Because I think after I'd finished the Star Wars thing, because it took a while, because I had to go back and forth with Lucasfilm and like, man, just get things approved through them, design wise. Like that took a while just to do. I think I only did 8 pages. Like it took me probably about 2 months. You
Yeah, because
know,
they got like people there that are like specifically in charge of making sure that
yeah,
everything lines up with the continuity and the period that like
yeah.
expanded universe thing is set in and all that. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, and they were like, don't get discouraged if they come back and say, we want you to redraw this whole panel or these couple panels. It's like it's not because you can't draw, it's more of just it has to be just like absolutely perfect, I guess. So I was like, yeah, that's fine, that's fine. I just want to get the ball rolling. And they're like, okay, because in the script I was doing, it's like there was a new character, that robot, the droid, and they're like, I was like, who's going to design this? Or do you have designs? Because I need to figure this out. I need to get going here. And they were like, well, we don't have nobody yet, but we'll let you know. And it wasn't long after they're like, well, you can design them, but they had to send me literally, man, like a PDF, a packet of like how to design droids from Lucasfilm, which was pretty crazy. Yeah, like it was like I guess they sent them to the artist, and so I had to just go through this and just like I said, man, it was just a long back and forth with them trying to figure out this droid. So, but finally, once we got it nailed down, I just got through the pages, and luckily, I never had to redo nothing. So, because I made sure I had to get my likenesses down, like Han Solo. Yeah, I was like, I don't want to have to redo this at all.
Yeah.
Chewbacca. Darth Vader was like the hardest to draw, I think, because just his structures on his mask is just weird at times. But I mean, other than that though, luckily everything went pretty smooth. It just took a while, and then but yeah, like I said, it was not long after that. As soon as I got done, they were like, well, we've got something in the 29 world. We might be throwing to you if you want it. And I was like, yeah, dude. I didn't know. That's all he said though. He's like, in 29, and in my mind, I'm thinking, well, there's a lot of 29 characters now. I'm like, there's no way I'm gonna get Spider-Man. And then luckily, it was right after they're like, yeah, here it is. So yeah, I mean, I don't know how much I can say about it, but I mean, there is articles on it, but yeah, it's been a fun ride so far.
Yeah, like the two things that I do know about it from like the solicits and the things that have been out there is that it's introducing Carnage 2099
Yeah,
and Blade 2099. So
yeah.
like how much because I think we can talk about this without it getting like too much into details that shouldn't be out there yet, but like because I also don't want to make Marvel mad. But
Nah, nah. I don't
yeah,
think so. I mean, well, because we know the character, we
yeah.
know the characters are in this. So I mean, there's not much, you know, that we couldn't say, I guess.
Yeah.
I mean,
How much range did you get on designing the 2099 version of them? Like,
uh, well, with Carnage, they actually sent me old designs from John Romita Sr. He did for I think it was Venom 2099 back in
yeah.
the day, and he was just kind of like a more hunched over
Wait, senior or
monster.
junior?
I'm pretty sure it was senior.
Oh, okay.
I'm about positive it's senior because I was like, is this really like did he really do these sketches? But yeah, but he had more of like a hunched over monster, and I don't know if he had like a small tail on Venom or something. I can't remember exactly, but I just kind of went with that, and I had a first pass at Carnage, and they were like, I can't remember what it was about it, but I pushed it a little bit more, and then we got what has been shown on the covers essentially. Um, with Blade, that was just pretty much just do what you want to do. I mean, there's nothing important that we want to see. It was just like just throw us something. So yeah, it went through a couple passes, but pretty much nailed it on the first take. Really, I mean, uh, I think it was more of his hair than anything that I was trying that we had trouble with. Um,
Yeah.
but that was pretty fun, doing Blade because I mean, I lean more towards I guess a samurai look with him because of swords and um, I seen a comment. I can't remember what it was, but somebody made a comment about it and was like, is this a black Ronin?" And I'm like, it literally says, man, like it literally says, like just read the article. Like people don't want to click the article and just see that this is who it is, but they would just comment on the pictures. I'm like, read the article. It says who it is. So,
Yeah.
yeah, it was funny.
That's honestly one of my favorite things about Facebook comments. Like I know people complain about them all the time, but I think they're hilarious. Like I don't know if like back in the day you ever watched Sons of Anarchy, but I used to love going on to the Facebook page for that show after a new episode would air. And like the comments were just full of people who loved the show but didn't know how to spell any of the characters' names. And
Oh
like
god,
my favorite thing though was like they would constantly
god.
think that characters that clearly got like shot in the head or something like that on a crime drama show were going to like come back from the dead to get revenge. And it's like, I don't know if you know what kind of show you're watching.
It ain't The Walking Dead. Shoot, man. Yeah, I never, I haven't watched the show. I've heard good things about it, but yeah, I mean, I don't know, man. It's like people just don't. I don't know, man. They don't pay attention. They don't. I don't know. It's weird,
Yeah.
man. There's some weird people out there.
It's like even with the Star Wars thing, like I remember when episode 7 came out. Uh I had a friend who we were talking about Ray and like, who her parents could have possibly been. I was like, I bet you
Yeah.
anything she's a Palpatine. And they're like, no,
Really?
no way. And I was like, no, it would make sense with the way that Star Wars works. She's definitely a Palpatine. Because there's like all of the different things in Star Wars go in a pattern that
Yeah.
echoes the previous trilogy, where like it's it does they don't beat you over the head with that as much in the sequel trilogy as they do in the prequels, where like the whole like plot line of the prequel trilogy mirrors the original trilogy down to
Yeah.
the last shots of each of the movies, where it's like the end of episode 1 mirrors the award ceremony at the end of the original Star Wars. The very last shot of episode 2 of Padme and Anakin staring off into the sunset after they get married in secret on Naboo
Yeah.
echoes Luke and Leia staring out into space, and they've even got the droid standing next to them in each shot. And then like episode 3 and episode 6 both end with a montage of like what's going on all the same like handful of planets basically, uh both as the Empire is like taking over and then as the Empire is falling.
Yeah.
Yeah, and it's like it's
And-
down to the point that like even I think I've read before, and they still hint at it sometimes in expanded universe stuff, that like that whole thing in episode 3. I don't know how much of like a Star Wars person you are, by the way. So like
I
all
mean,
this, yeah,
I don't, and I hate to,
yeah,
I don't get into the lore deep.
yeah,
I mean, I love Star Wars,
yeah,
but yeah, I don't really dig into it as
yeah.
deep as
Like
some people do.
they get really close to just saying outright in episode 3 that Palpatine created Anakin, and that's why Anakin was a virgin birth in the Force, because that whole little like monologue that Palpatine goes on in episode 3 when he's at the
Yeah.
opera and Anakin's in like the box with him, where he's talking about how he and his master Darth Plagueis had like uh learned how to use the dark side of the Force to manipulate midichlorians to create life.
Yeah.
Basically the whole thing's just supposed to suggest potentially that they did that and it resulted in the virgin birth of Anakin on Tatooine, and that's
Huh.
why Shmi had like a virgin birth and Anakin was created.
So this ain't, so I guess it ain't like it ain't officially what happened, but it is like insinuated what
Yeah,
happened.
because Charles Soule
Interesting.
hints at it in one of his Darth Vader comics.
Right.
I
That
think
is
it
really
was
cool
I think it
though.
was one of the Charles Soule ones. It was either Charles Soule or
Yeah.
Greg Pak. I don't remember who was writing Darth Vader at the time.
Wow. That's really interesting. See, I never knew
Yeah.
that. Yeah, I don't dig into it that deep, but that is really cool to, you know, that could be what it was.
Yeah. But think about it this way though, because if that is the case, right?
Yeah.
If Palpatine is essentially Anakin's dad,
Yeah.
then Luke is Palpatine's grandkid, Leia is Palpatine's grandkid. Then that makes Kylo Ren Palpatine's great grandkid.
Yeah.
Rey is Palpatine's granddaughter. Rey and Kylo kiss in episode 9. That's some Game of Thrones
Yeah.
shit. They got that whole weird romance
Crap.
going on, and then
Crap. Man. I don't know, man. That's some weird stuff.
yeah,
Especially like the whole Luke and Leia kiss thing. It's like a lot of family stuff going on there.
yeah.
A lot.
They hadn't decided yet at that point. I think that Luke and Leia were definitely brother and sister.
Yeah.
There's a thing that I read like a while back about the whole process of that, where like um they kept Darth Vader being Luke's father under wraps up until like I think there were people that worked on the movie that didn't know how that twist was actually going to work until the movie came out. But then like I think up the original version of the script didn't even have that in there. And
Huh.
I think there was someone else was like Luke's sister in the original version of the script. So I think at that point they kind of had like an overarching plot structure, but they were also just kind of like doing things as they went along. Because there's like a whole other version of Return of the Jedi that never got made that had like a darker ending too.
Oh, really?
Yeah. Like there's I think as the story goes, Lucas originally wanted to end Return of the Jedi with Han getting like killed on Endor, and I think like the whole rebel thing failing there, and then Luke turns to the dark side and kills both the Emperor and Vader, and then the movie just ends with like Luke being like, "I'm the Emperor now" or some shit like that.
Oh wow,
Yeah,
shoot, sounds pretty good though.
yeah, but you know you can't sell
Yeah, that's
toys on
crazy.
that.
Right? Yeah,
Like I
makes
think that's what
sense.
happened at the end of the day. You end your movie like that, and it kills your toy sales. So.
Shoot. Yeah, that's crazy. I didn't know a lot of this.
But yeah, I think I've had you for about an hour now. I don't want to take up too much of your time, but is there anything else that you want to put out there?
Uh, Not right off, man.
All right. When does
I think
Spider-Man 2099 hit shelves?
the first issue hits May 3rd, and it's just a weekly series after that. So just mark the calendar May 3rd, and just a week after, just keep on for 5 issues.
Yeah, you got anything
Um,
coming up after that that you're allowed to talk about yet?
no, I've got something in the works at IDW. I guess I'll say that. But aside from that, nothing at Marvel. So hopefully soon. I mean, like after this is done, man, I want to stay with them. I'm hoping I can. It's a dream, I wrote you, the other day. It's like I hope to add Amazing to my line of Spider-Man I've drawn. So, so maybe one day I'll be able to land on that. I don't know, man. I guess we'll see how it goes.
There's a lot of artists that I've and writers too that I've seen start out on miniseries at Marvel, and
Yeah,
that's kind of like it kind of seems like that's where they like test you out early on, and then uh through some form or another you get bumped up to a
yeah.
main series, like if you prove yourself on that. But like I don't know, I don't like I'm just
Uh,
just spitballing here, but at the same
well,
time
no, no.
they're giving you Spider-Man miniseries though. I mean that's big.
Yeah, I mean, and I've always wondered that, because I mean, I can't keep up with a lot of comics or artists, new artists these days, but like, or how artists come up. But I've always wondered, did they start a lot of other artists on like miniseries, and then, like you said, maybe bump them up uh, to something? Because it seems like a lot of you know, the guys I talk to, anyways, they mostly just, got thrown an issue here of this, and then got thrown an issue here of this, and it's just back and forth kind of thing. Like Declan Shalvey, he said I think he started on like Thunderbolts or something, but it was on the ongoing, and that's when he just started. And then he went from there to, I can't remember. I don't know what he did. I don't know, but it was just like it's like he just kept doing ongoing stuff and filling in. And it's just like I don't know if it's just nowadays they do more miniseries with new artists or what, but like you're saying, maybe they are just testing me out. But the fact that they're giving me Spider-Man miniseries type, that's pretty crazy.
Yeah, you doing C2E2 this year?
No, no, man, I've got another baby due in April 4th or 5th or something, I think. But can't remember the date. That's bad. No, I'm thinking this year I'm probably gonna take time out.
Yeah.
Just no cons. Just take this year. I would like to do some. If I could do some, I would probably try New York again, just because it's just a great con, especially just just seeing a lot of fans and just getting a lot of it, keep that ball rolling. But I may not hit none up.
Yeah.
Definitely next year I'd like to hit C2E2 because I ain't been in a while.
Yeah, like I
This one,
just I went back in August and I'm going again next month.
yeah, I mean, dude, it was before the pandemic. I went, so
Yeah.
yeah, it's been a while. I would definitely like to go. That's always a good show. Always a fun time.
Yeah. All right. Well, I'll talk to you later, man.
All right, man.
More of you, mama.